Hey guys, and welcome back! Today I have great news for all UBoom X owners, and I also have a little surprise for you. Olaf released a new custom firmware for the UBoom X with improved sound and better performance. So let's simply hear all the details from Olaf himself. Hi Olaf, how are you doing?
Hello Joy, thanks a lot, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm also fine, thank you. Please tell us something about the new firmware.
Actually, it will be 3 different firmwares, with the first one being already released on my Patreon and 2 other ones coming soon. So right now I'm finishing the measurements for the new desktop mode, which will be included in the second firmware, and the third one will be optimized for true wireless pairing.
That's a lot of firmwares.
Yeah, indeed, but as Irfan is going to discontinue the UBoom X soon, this was the only way to still offer some support and improvements to existing UBoom X owners with different firmwares that cover different purposes.
What is the difference to the original firmware?
So yes, the current custom firmware, which is already available, I will call it the universal firmware, is more or less like the original from Irfan, but improved a lot, because when I bought several new units of the UBoom X recently, as they are so cheap now, so in future you won't find them anymore, I simply noticed that final production units sounded too different from my pre-production unit, which I used for my initial tuning last year. Therefore, my goal was to improve the sound, optimize it towards production units, do some further improvements, so the bass is better now, you have more lower bass at low levels, more clarity and more natural sound now. I did lots of measurements, I cut out, measured it outdoors, indoors, at different placements, different positions, and now studio mode really sounds like a pair of neutral studio monitors playing in front of you, with all the other modes being adjusted towards this. And I also managed to optimize my DSP settings slightly, so true wireless and party mode with several units playing at once is more stable now.
Sounds like a lot of work.
In fact, people are underestimating the effort that goes into this. They think it's just some EQ, but in reality it's far more than this. And tuning a speaker properly takes lots of work. Every single of my sound modes is an own DSP setting with own compressor settings, own dynamic EQs, own stereo enhancements, effects and so on. And you need lots of time not only doing measurements to create some nice average, but I noticed that 2 speakers, even if they measure the same, they can still be perceived as sounding completely different. Therefore this time I used my own ears. The human ear will perceive the sound differently when it's coming from the side than from the front. So I think I get a more natural sound now, thanks to all the effort that I put into this. Lots of listening, and as there was no deadline, I simply had the time to listen, improve, and I think now the sound is really how I intended.
Sounds really interesting. And what about the upcoming firmwares?
The upcoming 2 firmwares will be tweaked towards different purposes, with the first one being optimized even more. I want to replace studio mode by an own desktop mode. Just let me explain shortly what this means. If you place a speaker at a surface, due to the reflections that also contribute to the sound, this changes the frequency response, so I want to compensate for this. Otherwise, usually you place the speaker at some edge of a surface or something. And I also want to optimize ground zero mode for a kind of desktop plus mode with more bass for outdoor use, but when the speaker is placed at the ground, it should still offer you a natural frequency response. The second upcoming firmware will be optimized towards true wireless mode, also towards party mode, with all features not necessary for true wireless pairing, like the stereo enhancing will be taken away. Therefore performance should improve, and something that many don't know, 1 speaker will always sound different than 2 speakers. With 2 UBoom X's playing in stereo, you get less treble, more bass, so I also want to compensate for this for the indoor modes. So 2 UBoom X's playing in stereo will sound like 2 studio monitors playing in stereo, and I will let the outdoor modes untouched, as outdoors you simply need more bass. But this firmware should be optimized for true wireless, so you don't get that many interruptions. Already the universal one improved a lot, but I think with the true wireless firmware this should improve even more.
Thanks Olaf for this interesting background information.
Thanks a lot, it was really a pleasure being here, and I would also like to thank Irfan for giving me the chance to tune this speaker, as it was quite a unique experience, and also a big thanks to them, as I'm still able to offer you some improvements, and I also hope you will like the new firmware, so please let me know. Bye bye!
So my dears, I hope this was helpful for all UBoom X fans. Coming up next, we will try Oluv's new firmware and listen to the changes compared to the original one. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more. Bye bye!